Good afternoon, Warren Township Schools. This is Dr. Mingle with our COVID-19 school closure update for the week ending May 1st. Last week, I talked about the importance of empathy, and I found this graphic this week and thought it really expanded on that idea. The feedback was very positive from all directions about our focus being on leading with empathy. As a reminder, that means all of us thinking about the perspectives of everybody else. So from an administrative perspective, we try to take into consideration how our parents are feeling, how our teachers are feeling, how our students are feeling. All three of those groups were surveyed in the last week about how things are going. It also means that our parents should be empathetic to the needs of their own children and their teachers. The teachers should be empathetic to the needs of their students and the parents and administration, students being empathetic to the needs of their parents and teachers as well in all directions. And I know that that's what's happening all throughout the Warren Township community, which is wonderful. To that end, updates on how people are feeling. In our parent check-in, I'm happy to report another increase in our participation rate. You will see that the percentage of parents reporting that their students were feeling stressed or worried did go up a bit last week. We also surveyed our middle school students directly, and their responses almost on a one-for-one basis mirrored the responses that the middle school parents gave. So it does seem like we're pretty well in sync as far as how everybody is gauging wellness at the student level. Our teacher wellness reported here. We do see stress rise on the teacher level when we implement new programs, for example, the move to synchronous learning opportunities through office hours this year. And you can see that, this week, not this year. You can see that in the survey results. And then as far as some more detail about areas of strength and areas of challenge, generally speaking, we see pretty consistent responses from our parents. At the elementary level, we saw as the teachers implemented the use of asynchronous video, that quickly rose to being a strong point from the parent perspective. And even as early as last week, which is when we first started piloting synchronous video in Google Meet, that already rose into the top 3 as far as positive strengths as reported by our elementary school parents. At the middle school, we have responses from both parents and from students. Our parents report that the flexibility of an asynchronous first approach is their highest area of strength of the program, that they're seeing increased independence of their children, and they're happy with teacher support and responsiveness. Our students agreed that the flexibility was really important. It's one of the reasons why we have slowly increased the use of synchronous tools to support the asynchronous model as opposed to moving all the way to a synchronous model. Our students report that the amount of work is one of the areas of strength, and kind of related to that, that they're able to balance the work they're doing with other things, such as helping take care of younger siblings, engage in hobbies, maybe play some video games, talk to friends, that sort of thing. On the area of concern side, our elementary parents have consistently reported that the maintaining engagement and focus of their children is the highest area of concern, and that managing their own schedules, whether that be because there are multiple children in the home or because they're managing personal job responsibilities with their student work schedules, and especially the parents of young children that have reported that as a challenge. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have happened in the last week or so to help address that. And as I mentioned last week, we've kind of shifted to this feeling of loneliness or missing friends. And I believe that the synchronous activities are helping address that. We'll be interested to see how the survey results match it. A lot of our teachers are reporting that in the first Google Meets done synchronously, the students are primarily interested in talking to each other, not necessarily engaging in a math lesson, but in seeing each other and talking and catching up. At the middle school, you'll see that both too little work and too much work fall into the top parent concerns, which I think speaks to the fact that everybody's circumstance and situation is different, just like during any other school year or in face-to-face classes. But missing friends there in the parent survey as well. The students' response is a little bit different here on the areas of concern. The top area of concern from students has to do with the instruction clarity, which is definitely being helped now by the video usage, and teacher response time and communication. So what we're finding is, although the students will say the teacher gets back to me later that day, when they're frustrated in the middle of a challenge and they can't get an immediate response, they report difficulty, and the office hours should address that. Our students have too much work on their list at the middle school. So where are we? We are now, as of yesterday, fully implemented with our asynchronous model of distance learning with the synchronous connection options offered by office hours, mini lessons, morning meetings in some places, that sort of thing. That will continue through the remainder of our time out, which as of right now, we know is through at least May 15th. And we are awaiting Governor Murphy's guidance and the New Jersey Department of Education for what will happen after May 15th for the last month of the school year. A lot of big things going on this week outside of the regular flexible instruction day improvements and enhancements that have gone on. We did launch expanded after school activities. Thank you to the Board of Education for its support and to our staff, including several substitute teachers who with very little notice put together some amazing proposals for supplemental after school activities. We had 214 students registered by the deadline this morning, and all of those families will receive a personalized letter with their after school activities highlighted. We were able to get nearly every student into an activity that they preferred. We have a couple places where the grade levels didn't match with what people were asking for, but generally speaking, we were able to match students to activities. Unfortunately, due to the logistical challenges of how we create those groups, keep them capped, and then do the lottery for who gets into which clubs, we cannot accept late registrations or make changes to those rosters at this time. Kindergarten, first, and second grade parents received information yesterday from their building principals about a supply pickup that will take place next Tuesday. Our K1 and 2 teachers and parents have both reported a need to make sure that the youngest kids have hard copies of certain materials that are very difficult to replicate online, and we should not be expecting parents to be able to print things out. So a massive logistical effort that'll take place on Monday for our staff to get into buildings, make sort of goodie bags for those kids, and then manage the process. I implore parents of kindergarten, first, and second grade teachers second grade students to carefully review the letter that came to you yesterday, to follow the guidance in there about appropriate social distancing and protective approaches, and to go during the block of time that was scheduled for you. It is planned very carefully for the safety of our staff and for the parents who are coming in to pick up materials. And please make sure you review that information carefully. Before and after school care provider AlphaBest launched its registration program for next year. As of today, you can find a link to the registration in today's community briefing. And I just want to remind everybody that all the way through May 17th, you can vote for the Warren Middle School Band in the Battle of the Bands program. As somebody who was involved in marching band all the way until about 4 years ago, this is really exciting to me. The Warren Middle School is currently in first place as of right now. But the second place school, Hillsborough Middle School, has double the number of kids, which means double the number of families. So we definitely need everybody voting for the Warren Middle School Band. Every day you can vote twice, all the way through May 17th. Other big things that are in the works that I want to make sure you're aware of. Our summer fun staff has been hard at work over the last week, 2 weeks, to come up with a virtual option for summer fun, including enrichment, academic support, and extended school year. We are still waiting on final guidance from the state about the extended school year special education piece of that, but we are moving full steam ahead with a virtual plan based on survey results that we've received. You'll find more information about that coming out hopefully next Friday, if not immediately thereafter during the week of May 11th, I guess that would be. Our librarians are working on a schedule to begin nightly live read-alouds for students. That'll be really exciting. More information about that next week. Our elementary and middle school phys ed teachers have done a ton of work to plan a virtual field day with the understanding that we may not be able to do live field days, even if we got back into school, just because of the time and requirements that might be around that. And so virtual field day for all students on Thursday, May 21st, which is a scheduled half day for students leading into the Memorial Day weekend. And we have working groups looking at things like preschool, kindergarten graduations, 5th grade moving up and year-end event, 8th grade graduation, middle school overnight trips, Capstone 5 and Capstone 8, a whole slew of things, more information to come on each of those things as we move into the next couple of weeks. And finally, I wanted to mention that we have an umbrella working group that's beginning to look at the reopening process and the logistics around reopening, whether that happened in May, June, or September, or some other time. The Somerset County Association of School Administrators, which is the superintendent professional organization, has been working with a model called the Roadmap to Reopening. There's a graphic on the screen here that highlights the 7 areas of that. Obviously, post-secondary doesn't apply to us in Warren, but I'm happy to report that Watchung Hills Regional High School Superintendent Dr. Jewett and I are 2 of the 4 officers in the County Association of School Administrators. We have working groups around each of these 7 areas at the county level to make sure that we're all thinking about the various implications of return whenever that may take place. Plus, we have an umbrella group within the district that is working on that as well. Creates a very methodical approach to the decisions we have to make in the short term, medium term, and long term to make sure that everybody is healthy and safe when we get back into school. Much more to come on that in the future. Just wanted to give you a quick little highlight of the work that's going on in that area as well. It is also a celebratory week this week and into next week. So today is Happy Principals Appreciation Day. So celebrating the principals at each of our schools. If you haven't reached out to say thank you, they are working around the clock, just like everybody else is, to make sure that our flexible instruction days go off to the best that they can. So thank you to them. Next week, the whole week is Teacher Appreciation Week. I know that our PTOs have some plans in place for how to celebrate that from afar. So please make sure you thank your teachers next week as well. And School Nurses Day next Wednesday, May 6th. If you haven't reached out to your nurse lately, that might be a place to go too. Our nurses are currently working, in addition to their work with the Warren Township schools, are doing work with the health officials in the county to help support contacting families that have been affected by COVID-19, do contact tracing and other work, thanks to some executive orders signed by the governor. So definitely a time to celebrate the work of all of our staff and all of you at home, our parents and students. This is a very difficult time for sure for everybody. We end with what I began with, the importance of leading with empathy, thinking about how everyone's affected in different ways, and that we work to understand that and make things better each day, just like our logo and our motto say, shining brighter every day. Thank you again for your attention. Enjoy the beautiful weather this weekend and take care.